I look backwards, there's all sorts of different regrets and lost opportunities. Prior to being depressed, I was able to maintain a healthy lifestyle and have a normal social life and have friends and family and work. And what was lost when I became ill this last time in particular was my ability to work, my ability to function, because I was crying all the time. I would have been able to go on to graduate school to get my PhD. I think I would have done a number of different things if I didn't have this illness.
I had to function for the kids, but it was barely functioning, to the point where I actually scared my kids. You know, my kids were afraid that I was going to die.
The big thing that I remember is that it was really hard to concentrate, and it was really hard to do my job. I just was incapable of teaching. I had piles of paper, bills and this and that, and I literally couldn't sort them and deal with them. I couldn't follow conversation. I couldn't stay focused long enough to, my dad would say something to me and I couldn't answer. It affected every aspect of my daily functioning. I don't think people understand that at all.
My most notable experience with Abilify is in a patient with long-standing bipolar disorder and also with a body image issue. She's been very resistant to using the atypicals because of the worry of weight gain. She had massive weight gain with lithium. Recently she became very depressed and no amount of antidepressants seemed to get her under control. I started her on Seroquel, which caused a great deal of sedation and some weight gain, so I switched her to Abilify, which had just become available. Within a couple of weeks her mood was much more stable, her depression had essentially cleared, she was able to focus, she wasn't sedated, and she basically started losing all of the weight that she'd put on with Seroquel.
Oh, I can think of one right off the bat who literally he would not take his Risperidone because he gained at least 30 or 40 pounds, and perhaps more, but just looking at him I would be guessing at least 30 or 40 pounds. And he ended up in the psych ward, in the ICU psych ward, at least on one occasion, but I think, if I remember correctly, I think it was on several occasions because of non-compliance. And the non-compliance was he found his body image to be that poor because of the weight gain, and right. So that was a big issue.
So would you say that Abilify has helped this patient or any of your patients in returning to everyday living?
Well, absolutely. He not only is he back in everyday life, but he's back to work.
The first patient I want to tell you about briefly is named Mike. Mike is an individual who has a bipolar disorder and can have episodes of paranoia and psychosis, even when he's well. But what was most impressive about starting this individual on Abilify was the fact that he had a very large weight gain on other medications. His mood symptoms were never particularly controlled, and he very often went into phases of manic or hypomanic confusion. And his psychosis control was not always great with previous medications as well. What struck me was that because he was a young fellow, he wanted to have an active social life. He wanted to be able to exercise, attend school functions, and this was something he could not do in the past, both because of symptoms of his manic depressive disorder that were poorly treated and the side effects of the medications that he had previously. And in fact, Abilify had a massive difference in his life because along with his mood stabilizers, the addition of the Abilify allowed us to take care of his psychosis, seemed to activate him so that he felt much more alive, had a lot more attention and concentration and could be more sociable. And very quickly in the next months he lost at least 30 or 40 pounds, was able to socialize better, had better self-confidence, both as a result of the fact that this medication was much more tolerable and that his symptoms of bipolar disorder were better.
Another case is, as I mentioned, a couple of these young men that have been very stable after years of being psychotic and unable to function. And the last time we saw the guy, he was actually employed at the dealership and completely symptom-free and side effect-free. And his mom showed up with him and was saying that Abilify has been a miracle for them because he looks normal and he sounds normal and he's employable, which is a big change after several hospitalizations for severe psychotic episodes.
Patients that I have used Abilify for have told me that they have improved both in terms of their mood disorder and in terms of their everyday functioning.
The summer was a really good summer. I felt that next level of motivation, that next level of self-confidence.
I'm very active now with the fundraising for the school, for the sports teams. Always wanted to do stuff like that before, but never had the energy. I'm out there doing things. And the more I'm doing things, the better I feel about myself too.
I've got my life back and I feel much more normal. That sounds so trite to say that you get your life back, but it's really, once you've lost your life, you know when you get it back.